All right, I'm calling this meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock, January 10th. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and I'll start with our roll call. We have Phyllis Berger, Sam Sims, Don Thiminster. I'm Kristen Chantrell. I'm sorry, you're always over here.
I know.
Doreen Ryan. I'm Kristen Chantrell, Don Thiminster, Leonard Salter, Greg McIntyre. We have our Wetlands agent, Gary Gaishel, and on recording secretary today, Fran Gersey, I'm sorry. We have Diane Nancy Kalal in the not seated today as our alternate. That's it. All right. So we're going to start the meeting. Public delegations. Public delegations is the time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission about certain matters. Issues or concerns related to approved wetland permits and in-house proposals or general topics of discussion are open to comment. Agenda items, referrals, applications subject to a decision by the commission, a public hearing, or litigation may not be discussed. Anybody here tonight? I don't think so. Okay. So moving on, we're going to begin our public hearing. This is for the application of Sophie Noble LLC, applicant owner, for a 3,425 square foot car wash facility with associated drive aisles, parking, vacuum spaces, drive-up lanes, stormwater measures, and utility infrastructure at 230 Flanders Road, East Lyme, Assessor's Map 26.1, Lot 27. So I'm going to begin by opening the public hearing, and if Gary would please read off the list of exhibits.
So we have Exhibit A is the Inland Wetlands application for 230 Flanders Road. Exhibit B is cover letter narrative from Niantic Sophie Noble LLC. Exhibit C is an abutters list. Exhibit D is the proposed Sophie Noble Express Car Wash site plans. Exhibit E is an alternative site layout plan proposed Sophie Noble Express Car Wash. Exhibit F is the project narrative and stormwater report. Exhibit G is a revision to the narrative of December 2nd, 2022. Exhibit H is the proposed Sophie Noble Express Car Wash site plans revised to December 2nd, 2022. Exhibit I is the project narrative and stormwater report from Sophie Noble Express revised December 2nd, 2022. Exhibit J, Town Engineer's Staff Review. Exhibit K is a Public Utilities Engineer Staff Review. Exhibit L is a notice to the applicant of the public hearing. Exhibit M as the Town Clerk recording and the day legal, which was followed, the legal ad was published in the December 29th, 2022 and January 6th, 2023 editions of the day paper. And Exhibit N is the zoning official staff review, and Exhibit O is a letter to the Inland Wetland Agency from William Kenny Associates regarding the wetlands impact. And that is all I have for the record.
Hi, if you could just introduce yourself.
Sure. For the record, my name is Casey Birch. I'm a civil engineer with Solely Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Niantic Sophie Noble LLC, for the Inland Wetlands application for their work within the regulated area for the associated Sophie Noble car wash. I do have some ticketed items that, just the proof.
So the Exhibit P is the certificate of mailing to the abutters. Looks like it was mailed out on January 4th, 2023.
Sorry, we're just trying to connect a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Do you know how to do that?
Yeah. We have the USB and we have...
I had to disconnect. Now if you hit the button, it should be blinking. I didn't realize you guys were doing that at the same time. You might have to open Click Share, go to your Windows Explorer.
Oh, quick.
Usually it comes up down here for me in that little caret. If you hit that caret there, that one there, the little up arrow.
Oh, but
I think you may have to install ClickShare.
can we...
Yeah, I can do it through here.
That's fine too. Thank you. Sorry, apologies. other stuff on there too, but. East Lyme.
That there, 230.
Click on the East Lyme folder, yeah. Yeah, that PowerPoint right there. The second one, yep. I also have tonight with me Mike Frisbee, the applicant. He'll be able to answer any questions regarding the operations of the car wash. And I also have Mr. William Kenny from William Kenny Associates, who was our soil scientist for the project. You can go right to slide 2. So this is the existing property at 230 Flanders Road. The property is approximately 1.35 acres. It's located in the commercial district CA. It's located at the intersection of Industrial Park Road and Flanders Road. It's located south of the Stop and Shop and north of some commercial properties and east of the Patagonia River. The site is currently improved with a car wash facility already, and its associated pavement, parking, and it has currently 3 drives, 1 full movement drive off of Industrial Park Road, and 2 egress drives, 1 really close to the intersection off Industrial Road, and 1 close to the site drive to the south of the commercial property off of Flanders Road. The middle of the property is undeveloped. It's currently full of fields, grasses, and then it gets into the western property where the wetlands associated with the river's buffer area or upland area. Slide 3. So as I mentioned, there are wetlands in the western portion of the property, and there's a finger wetland that kind of travels up as a man-made stream. This area of wetlands on site is approximately 10,000 square feet. That stream is fed through a 36-inch RCP drainage pipe that collects runoff from Flanders Road. I'm going to have Bill Kenny continue with wetlands at the end of it. I'm just going to go quickly with the actual project itself, and then we'll have our soil scientists come up and talk about the wetlands in further detail. All right, so what we are proposing is a 3,400 square foot car wash facility with associated queue lengths, egress lanes, and vacuum spaces and parking spaces. We also have an egress lane for an escape lane, which I'll be talking about later. We are proposing 13. Sorry, I am so dry mouth right now. We are proposing 13 vacuum spaces and 4 parking stalls, one of which is an ADA accessible space closest to the building. Our queue length for the entering of the car wash can hold around 20 plus cars. The car wash it does have a pay station, and for members, it can read your license plate for easy access. You enter the car wash, and then you come out to the vacuum, which is a free amenity to members and to patrons of the car wash. And then we have the dumpster pad in the rear, and then we've been coordinating with the town throughout this whole process before we even got to this stage here, and they have requested that we provide a new sidewalk along the frontage and a sidewalk along the entire Industrial Park Road, all the way up to the bridge abutment that's currently there for the river crossing. This is just a black and white version of the paper model. So for the grading plan, the site currently drains to the west. The area of the existing building and pavement, all sheet flows off onto Industrial Park Road, where it is collected with the system currently in there, and then travels to the west and is outletted into the bridge abutment area. All that pavement has no water quality treatment, with no measures in place already. We're hoping to. We will be improving that. The rest of the site that is unpaved, the rest of the existing site that's unpaved, just sheet flows to the west and into the wetlands currently. What we are proposing is to take our paved area, collect it, route it through a water quality unit, then put that through a detention basin where that system is made to attenuate all of the storm events up to the 100-year storm, and then that will sheet flow into the wetland, or that will outlet into the wetlands via an outlet control structure and a emergency spillway if needed. We are connecting with a new 36-inch pipe. The current 36-inch pipe that collects Flanders Road, and we will be diverting that around our property in this similar location, and then outlet into a sump, and then into the mitigation area, which Mr. Kenny will speak to you guys more about later. This layout does have direct impact. We are directly impacting the finger wetland extension that was fed by the 36-inch pipe. We have about, I believe it's about 3,170 square feet of direct impact, and we are providing mitigation areas for 3,000, or close to 3,400 square feet. Next slide. The construction, if approved, construction will be protected through several soil erosion and sediment control measures. Along the wetlands, we will install a combination of straw wattle protection with the silt fence backing. We're going to provide inland protection for all catch basins, and then we have a construction entrance. This is kind of showing a phase 1 with demo. The next slide. And this is our phase 2. We'll be continuing the soil erosion sediment control measures throughout and adding as needed, such as the additional curb inlets and modifying any construction entrance until final stabilization. So utility plan, if you want to zoom in on the front there, that'd be great. Oh, he can't? Oh, thank you very much. So we are providing pretty extensive sanitary system. About 70% of the water that the car wash uses goes through a reclaim system with the 3 tanks that you see down in the southwestern portion. Yep. So that it goes through that, does its thing, and any excess water that comes out is essentially clean, and it'll travel to the existing sanitary system through additional piping and the lateral that's on the eastern portion of the property. Water is coming out the southern side of the building and will tie into an existing lateral. Gas also comes out the southern end, and we're tying into a gas main off Industrial Park Road. And then our electric, we will be putting a new utility pole in, and that'll travel around the western side of the car wash to a transformer, and then into the secondary line into the building. This is our landscape plan. We are providing a pretty extensive landscape plan. We have trees, understory trees, upland shrubs, and a series of grasses and ferns throughout. We are maintaining the 3 trees. It's kind of hard to see if you zoom up into where the Industrial Park Road is. There are 3 trees along Industrial Park Road that we are maintaining as part of this property. They are mature trees. And then we'll be adding a couple in the front, and continuing that series along the Industrial Park Road side up to closest to the wetlands in the rear. The southern property line, we're putting a bunch of, I think it's, junipers along the edge, and there are a few junipers already there that we are maintaining, which is what you see, that gap in between the shrubs right there. So they will be maintained. We'll just be adding to the series. And then the rest is just a series of shrubbery and ground cover beneath the understory trees and around the areas. Sorry, just one more plan, then we can get to what you guys are waiting for. Oh, no, sorry, go back. Keep going. This is just the lighting plan, providing 3 poles. Most important thing is that we're not providing any light spillage into any of the existing wetlands or mitigation areas that we're proposing. So, and now I can turn it over to our wetland scientist, Mr. Kenny.
Good evening. I'm Bill Kenny. I'm the principal of William Kenny Associates in Fairfield, Connecticut. We're a firm of landscape architects and ecologists. We were retained to help with this project in a couple different ways. Initially, to review the property and identify and locate where wetlands or watercourses are located. And we did that, I think, last spring, I want to say. And then over the course of the summer, we were asked to get involved and help with the redevelopment of the property, the upgrade of the existing car wash to a new modern-day car wash system. So we met with solely engineers and the applicant to look at what their goals were for the property, and then to look at the existing wetlands and watercourses, and then develop a plan that we believe at the end of the day ends up with a net benefit with regard to wetland and watercourse area, as well as functions and values. The existing wetland, well, we prepared a couple of documents with regard to our work. One was a wetland mapping report, and that report is dated May 27th. Then we prepared this drawing that was on the screen a short while ago. There's the report. Describes the methods and results. That report is actually the report we just completed, but there was one from May that's focused on wetland mapping and described the methods and results of that. This report is...
That was in the storm, they put it in the stormwater report, so it's in there.
It's okay. As an exhibit.
It's part of Exhibit I, which may have been since... yeah, that was the last iteration, December 2nd, 2022.
And then we prepared a wetland mitigation drawing. There's 2 sheets. One is, if we could turn to that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Is it in that slideshow?
Yes. The pointer works on that screen, but I don't think it works on this screen. Oh, it doesn't matter. Modern technology. I don't know. If you guys don't want to turn around, that's fine. We can. So we have 2 drawing sheets. One includes...
I just need to know which sheet you need.
Keep going. It's got a color on it. There we go. I have a slightly different version of that. So it includes a partial plan of the property. That partial plan is focused on the western portion of the property, just east of the Patagonia River, which flows north to south along the western boundary of the property, and I consider that the primary natural resource on the property. Immediately to the east of that are two tiers of forested wetland. There's a very wet wetland immediately adjacent to the river, and it has a very poorly drained soil. Those soils are wet throughout the year, being fed by the river water. And just upgrade of that is a floodplain soil wetland, a higher tier wetland that is flooded on infrequent occasions when the river floods. And it's also fed with groundwater coming down the slope. The property does slope from the east to the west. And so that wetland, depending on the time of the year and storms, it's either just receiving water moving from east to west across the property, or sometimes it's receiving water from the river itself when the river floods over. It's a forested area, primarily red maple trees, which is one of the most common wetland trees in our region, and then understory many common shrubs clethra, sweet pepper bush, winterberry, the deciduous holly. There's royal fern and tussock sedge and many of the common wetland plants you find in a red maple wetland. We mapped out that wetland area, looked at its functions and values. The stream is obviously the highest quality area, and then the wetland immediately adjacent to it is the next. This upper tier wetland is of value as well. And then lastly, you have the drainage channel that runs along the northern property boundary. And it extends from the wetland in the west all the way east to the end of a 36-inch pipe that is a subsurface pipe that conveys water from Flanders Road as well as some land to the east. The water is conveyed through that pipe. That channel certainly has been altered over the years with the development of Industrial Park Road, which runs along the northern property line, and the development of this property. It appears that it was likely straightened and channelized over time, and it's not clear whether, to us at least, whether it existed before the development in the area, and whether it's just the result of that pipe that was put in to collect water, and when they ended that pipe, constructed a channel to convey the water then to the river. So the primary function of that channel is surface water conveyance, particularly in larger storms. It allows water to convey through that channel down to the wetland and down to the river. It mostly is unmanaged. It's discharged into the wetland, into the river without any formal treatment that you would expect from water that's running off of the road or a developed landscape. In very smaller storms, some of the water that comes out of that pipe infiltrates into the ground as it makes its way through that channel, so there's some benefits there of that infiltration. And so with the proposed layout of the development and the need based on that layout to eliminate this channel, we then looked at what could we do to mitigate that. And what we came up with was to create, in addition, two wetland areas. One in the bottom of the stormwater basin that's proposed, and that would be an emergent marsh growing in the bottom of that basin. Its primary function, being a stormwater basin, would be to provide flood control and water quality improvements for the stormwater coming off the development, and additional functions would be for habitat and to have wetland vegetation and potential for wildlife to use that wetland area. We understand that because it has a primary function for stormwater management, it's not of as high a value as a wetland that's designed just for being a wetland. Because in the future, that wetland may get disturbed for maintenance of the basin and so forth. But most of the time, it'll be providing wetland functions. So to the west of that then, we looked at creating a new wetland that would its sole purpose will be to function as a natural wetland in the long term, without any interruption, except to manage it to control invasive vegetation and so forth. But so we developed we have a cross section on our drawing as well as a plan view of that area, and the idea is to allow that to become a forest over time. We're proposing 13 trees in that area and 36 shrubs. There'll be a wetland meadow that's formed on the ground cover in that area. So initially it'll look more like a meadow with some small trees. Over time, as the trees get larger and start to form a continuous canopy and there's more shade, that area will look more like the forested wetland that is adjacent to, which is immediately between it and the river. So to create this wetland, we're proposing to cut into the grade that currently the land is gently sloping from east to west. We're going to cut into the grade and make it level. That allows us to capture and hold water. We'll put in some silt loam soils in the base to ensure that water stays in the surface and creates those wetland conditions that we want. And then we'll have a low stone berm on the lower side to slow the water down and prevent it from just washing through the wetland very quickly. We want it to sit there and just slowly make its way through that berm. And by doing so, we're going to clean that water and provide the wetland habitat at the same time. So provide enough water to create the wetland, but also while that water's in there, cleaning that water before it makes its way to the river is of greatest importance. And so we're going to help feed this new wetland with water that's coming out of the existing watercourse. That watercourse is getting replaced by a pipe, but we're going to convey that water through that pipe and have it feed into this wetland. So we will gaining the benefit of that water to help create this wetland, but also taking that water that currently does not receive much treatment and allowing it to be treated through this new wetland system before it makes its way to the river. So we have additional details on our plan, in particular our second sheet where we have extensive notes about how the wetland would be created and how it would be maintained, particularly in the first 3 years. And we include monitoring, reporting would be done to you on a yearly basis, and there would be work to maintain this wetland in those first few years when it's most critical to get the vegetation that will be installed. We want to make sure that that's successful, that it's not overrun with invasive plants, and the first few years are the most critical period to ensure that success. So we do have monitoring and maintenance proposed, and then we also spell out the objectives of the plan, and we have quality assurances, and we specify the soil type and how the vegetation should be installed and maintained. So with that, our experience with designing and constructing wetlands like this, it's my professional opinion, and I've been doing this for over 25 years, that we can create a wetland there that will have a greater quality and function than that channel that exists today, that's where the pipe is proposed to be installed. And with the wetland that's proposed to the west of the stormwater basin and the wetland in the bottom of the basin, we also not only a higher quality, but there is a greater area of wetland area than would exist on the property, that does exist on the property today. Be pleased to answer any questions that you might have.
Did I see that you're installing a hydrodynamic separator somewhere?
That's correct. Just up gradient of the detention basin.
of that detention basin that you were just discussing?
Correct. The one. Do you want to go back to the color plot? Yeah. But right upgrade into the one to the right there. That more perfect circle.
Oh, okay.
Oval.
And that's collecting from the parking lot area, and
Correct.
the other one is just for the stream. Well,
For the Flanders Road.
Yeah, that runoff
drainage collection. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So the overflow from the first detention pond goes into the second?
Goes into the mitigation area, correct.
Okay.
Via that outlet control pipe, and then into a level spreader that'll dissipate the peak discharge rate to it.
So that's the hydrodynamic separator over there in the circle.
That's correct.
I would.
And then, sorry, I'm just trying to understand. So then the water from the lower retention pond goes over a wall into the wetland area?
It's a stone berm that will hold back a smaller portion of the water, and then trickle into the. It sort of acts as a large level spreader afterwards as well.
True. Just maybe I might understand your confusion. Are you referring to the overflow for the actual basin itself? So when that basin fills up, and the catch basin inside it is overwhelmed, it's gonna. If this basin overtops, it's gonna go down that spillway. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand how they're all connected, and then how it all flows into the Patagonia.
Do you see this hatched pipe?
Mm-hmm.
That's collecting the water from Flanders Road.
Yep.
That goes into an area here, and then kind of sheet flow into the mitigation area.
Mm-hmm.
And that you got the other outlet structure here, so that you're going to have 2 feet of water before that thing fills up.
Oh, okay.
So I believe it's designed for 48 hours or something.
72.
Yeah, sorry, 72 hours. So you'll have about 2 feet before it infiltrates. Anything over 2 feet will enter the catch basin and discharge to the mitigation area.
Okay. And then from that mitigation area, where does it go?
There's a little stone berm. It's going to hold it back, slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get some infiltration, but then it just sheets flows out into the mitigation area and sits there and makes its way into the river.
Okay. And that area, so we walked the site this past weekend. Is there currently trees in that location, or you're planting? I know you said you're planting trees.
Right.
Is that planted currently?
It is, and actually there's a gap in the woodland roughly in the area that we're talking about. So, and it is in right where the hand is pretty much. And the density, it's not as evident here, but when you're out there, there is a gap in the woodland right there. So there is some.
Like a tree would have fallen that area,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
A tree had fallen
Approximately, yeah.
from
We stopped at the
towards
tree.
the south.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leonard went on against the grade.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have questions? I'm sure you guys have questions.
I have a question. You mentioned that 70% goes through the reclaim system.
Well, all the water does that's associated with the car wash, 70% gets reused back into the car wash, and then the remainder goes to the sanitary system.
Okay. And then you also mentioned it's the back is going to be kind of a meadow-like area.
In existing condition right now, the back. I'm sorry, that might have been confusing. I'm trying to catch my dry mouth up. But in existing condition, I was talking about that being the meadow area. In proposed, it will be a stormwater basin, and the mitigation area will be our non-pervious area.
So how's that going to be maintained?
Sure. So both the stormwater basin and the proposed wetland area, and some upland where we have slopes rising up from it that won't be wet, they will all be meadow habitat covered. The ground cover will be meadow habitat, and initially there will be that maintenance for the first few years to allow the trees to get growing or to become larger. And so there will be cutting proposed of the meadow to help control invasive plants from coming in and taking over that area. The basin in the long term, I'm sure there is some maintenance.
Yes, in the engineering report, we do provide a operation and maintenance manual that the applicant and owner will have to follow for all stormwater appurtenances, and that includes the detention basin.
Is this an automated car wash?
It is, yes.
So there's not going to be anybody there?
There's 2 employees, 1 to 2 employees at a given time.
Is it a 24 hour or?
Sorry, for the record, my name is Michael Frisbee. Good evening. So I'll be the owner and operator of the car wash. So we have, it's a manned facility. It's generally open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. during the winter, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the summer, but there will always be someone there. Different than what they had there now, where they have the bays and people could just drive in any time to do that. What was the second question? I'm sorry. Just whether it was manned or not or automated. So it's an express tunnel. So you stay in your vehicle. You come up to the pay station, you either pay or you, as a member, the license plate reader, and then you drive through and somebody will guide you in, make sure everything's good, and then they'll make sure that you get out comfortably. And then always have somebody there to clean up the lot, make sure it's good.
So there's not going to be, right now you've got a system, or prior, there was a system where you could wash your own car.
Correct. So no, we're not going to have that. We're going to take that away. It's just going to be, so our facility will be secure, and it'll always be manned when it's open. And when you come through, so you stay in your car, so it's not like a full serve. We let the equipment in the facility clean your car, and you come out, and then you'll be able to use the vacuums or the amenity cart to finish off your car by yourself if you like. Thank you.
Have you estimated the relative amount of water that comes out of that 3-foot pipe versus what's going to wash off the impervious area of the car wash?
Yeah. Part of our stormwater design, we had to take all that into consideration.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our pipes are sized to accommodate, I believe, the 25-year storm, and our system itself, the detention basin, is designed to accommodate the 100-year storm. And we also check the pipes for the 100-year storm too for surcharge, and that they work.
What kind of soap do you use? Is it biodegradable or environmentally friendly?
Yes, so we buy all of our chemicals from Simonize, and they are biodegradable and environmentally friendly. The best in the market right now. So.
Did you have some questions?
I heard maintenance, or I heard mention of a long-term maintenance plan. But in my initial reviewing of the documents, I saw mention of a 3-year plan to get everything going, and based on the information provided, that 3-year heavily managed and regulated program will be replaced by a long-term manual of some kind. Is that manual in this package?
It's in the engineering report. I believe it's Appendix E.
Okay.
Of the engineering report. So. And most of it talks about the maintenance of the hydrodynamic separator, the catch basins with the sumps, but there is also a mention of the detention basin as well in there.
Nancy, our alternate, we have our alternate in the room. I know you had some questions.
Yes. Do I have to stand there, or can I just talk?
I could.
Yeah, as long as we
Okay. I'm a little confused. 25-year storm, 100-year storm, which regs do we get to pass, to follow?
No, the 100-year storm is what we designed the system to.
Well, considering we have a 100-year storm every 10 years, are we covered then?
Yeah.
By your specs?
By the NOAA stormwater design guidelines, yes, which is the national standard.
Okay. So according to chapter 7/440 of the Inland Wetland Watercourses, any project that may have an impact on wetland in the upland review area is not allowed.
Oh, so our
So you're saying that,
so our
none
system.
of the DEEP regs don't count for yours?
No. So what I'm saying is, what's going into the wetlands now, we designed the existing conditions, and they have a certain peak discharge rate, right? What our system does is decrease that rate in every storm event with the proposed improvements.
Okay. So as I look at this piece of property and follow the Patagonia River, which is the aquifer to Niantic, which is, by the way, clean, as opposed to the 3 wells in the line to Niantic, which are contaminated. This is a critical aquifer to the town. It is also the shallowest aquifer in the state of Connecticut, which is really important to the water of Niantic. I understand that the upland review regs require a permit, and that permit, I thought, was dependent on DEEP, inland watercourse, and waterlands regs. But you use
No.
the regs.
No, we use the regs. We use the regs I referred to was for stormwater in general.
Okay. I made many notes. The soap's biodegradability, where's the specs on that?
Will come from the manufacturer.
Right, MSDS. Do we have a copy of that before we pass this?
Happy to provide that information to the board, yes.
Excellent. That's important stuff. Okay, that takes care of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, to be clear, the water that's coming down the 3-foot pipe now is completely untreated and goes right into the river.
Correct. As well as the existing pavement and building that's there now does the same.
Okay, so in your plan, that channel will exit into the lower basin, if you will.
Mitigation area, yep.
Mitigation area that is bounded by a 2-foot high rock wall.
Correct. And we have a sump at the beginning too.
So it can't be any worse than it is now, basically.
What we believe it's better. Correct, yeah.
And then the other one is going to catch the runoff from the cement
Correct.
and hold it so that sediment or whatever will get out of it before it goes through the dynamic.
Well, it will go through the hydrodynamic separator first, cleaning the water, then entering the basin. The clean water will enter the basin. Then the basin will hold it back, attenuate it to satisfy the stormwater regs to decrease the peak discharge rates going into the river.
So I sort of, my question earlier was to the same point, is that, yeah, okay, I get it, that the water should be cleaner, but the lower mitigation area could be overwhelmed more frequently than you think from the drainage, which is not just Flanders Road, but it's actually from up the hill on the other side, and from the runoff from the pavement. That 2-foot area, that area that has a 2-foot wall around it, I don't know whether the plants can take, that are proposed to go in there, can take kind of routine flooding every 2 weeks or every week.
It's a good question, and we designed it specifically to be able to withstand that. So, yeah, the plant life that's being proposed, the different types of vegetation are plants that grow, you find growing in wetland areas where soils are saturated for long periods of time, and in some cases where you have ponded conditions over a soil surface. So.
Do you know the name of the, I actually have the SDS sheets from Simonides right here. Do you know the name of the?
I just have to look
Yeah.
it up.
They have them all listed online.
We have several, so. And
Okay.
We have, sorry. there's several different products that we use within the process. So we have the pre-rinse, and then we have the soap, and we have the ceramic sealant. So if you give me a moment, I can just give you a quick list. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah,
So
sure.
you have,
Yeah.
have other questions?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Nancy.
Can I ask more?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's these three basins somewhere up there, way up there. Who cleans those out?
The catch basins?
Yes.
Yeah, as part of the operation and maintenance manual, the owner is responsible to do that. I believe those are cleaned out every 2 years, I think it's every 2 years. They clean out the sumps, so it always maintains its water quality measure for the sump.
So the crud comes off the car, the soap comes off the car, lands in the tank.
No. No, nothing. These catch basins outside the building do not capture any runoff associated with the car wash soap in the car wash. That's all internal. That gets collected internally, then goes through the reclaim system that was presented in the utility slide earlier.
The part of that doesn't get recycled goes into the sewer.
So what's collecting, what those catch basins that you see on that plan are collecting is just the stormwater runoff that hits the pavement and goes to those catch basins.
So you're saying that there's nothing, dead leaves, those basins are going to fill up.
So leaves will be collected with the sumps, and then it'll also be collected further downstream into the hydrodynamic separator. The hydrodynamic separator uses a swirl concentration unit inside, which collects all major debris, sediment, and floatables, and then excess water after that point will leave clean. And it treats 80% of the total suspended solids. That's what it's designed to do.
Okay, so what happens to the other 20%?
Well, if it doesn't get maintained properly, it could get inundated. Yeah. But that's the point of the O&M, so they can maintain that the water quality unit, and they will.
Okay. So the material comes out and goes into the sewer system,
Yes.
which ends up in the city of New London.
It goes through the reclaim system first, which cleans it, and then any excess from that, which is clean, will go into the sewer system. Correct.
Okay, so I still don't understand. You wash the car, it goes into this recycling thing, gets
Yeah.
cleaned.
70% goes back into the car wash to use the water again.
Right.
Yeah. And then the
30%
excess that is clean goes through, if you want, right there, goes to this outlet pipe here, and then goes through the grease trap, it goes through a couple other manholes, and then into the lateral that's extending into the site already.
The lateral of what?
The sewer lateral, that's,
Okay,
yeah,
sewer lateral.
that's, yeah, the sanitary sewer lateral.
So then there's a grease cleanout, a place for grease to accumulate.
Right.
So
Yep.
when does that get cleaned out?
Sorry, that's a septic tank, because there's bathrooms associated with this facility, so we needed a septic tank, but it goes through that.
So the grease
Not
goes
grease
into
trap.
the septic tank?
No. There's no grease. It's not a grease trap. It's a septic tank. I apologize. I misspoke.
I'm even more confused.
Okay, perhaps I can
Okay.
just help clarify. Stay up here, Casey. So I'm Kevin Soley. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. So there's no grease associated with the operation. So the car wash itself, you drive through and wash the car. So all of the soap and runoff from that get collected into internal drains and routed through the reclamation system. And then the water that isn't recaptured to go back into circulation is then outlet into the sanitary sewer and goes to the sanitary sewer just like every other sewer system in the town.
Okay.
So there's, as part of that system, there is there are a series of tanks that just provide additional opportunity to settle out solids and things like that, so that the effluent that does go into the sewer system is consistent with what normally goes into sewer.
Right. So what doesn't go into the sewer system is now sitting in the bottom of the tanks.
Correct, and those get pumped on a routine basis. As part of the application, we have a operations and maintenance plan, which includes biannual cleaning of all the catch basins, of the of all those tanks. Those all get serviced on a routine basis and cleaned out on a biannual schedule, and additionally if as needed.
Okay, so is that a separate company that comes, you hire somebody to suck out the
Yes, that's
crud?
correct.
And what do they do with it?
They handle it in accordance with the DEP guidelines for that operation.
Well, I just,
So usually,
I just didn't want to end up at the dump.
yeah, usually those go to sewage treatment plants. The DEP has specific regulations and requirements for any haulers like that, any operators like that. So usually they'll go to a transfer station, and then from there they'll go to a licensed facility to receive that. It's not like these guys just kind of pull over the side of the road and dump it out or bring it to the dump. There are specific locations where they can get rid of this material.
Okay, thank you.
So just one additional thing, I'm sure that it's part of your application, somebody checked with the sewer treatment facility in London and said, can you handle this extra volume?
Yeah, they've been involved in this design. We've had to present. Like I said, we dealt with Bill Mulholland, and he distributed to all and got comments from every department. And yes, sewer was one of them. We met with them during a pre-app meeting to go over our design and everything.
Gary, do you know what happened previously to the car wash that was there? What they did with their wastewater?
I do not. I believe there was an internal system with a tank, and that just handled the bay. The others were 3 open bays. I think
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place.
Just kind of
Yeah. Right.
Just for reference, that particular car wash does not even have a conveyor pit. It just has a chain along the ground. So anything just washed on the thing and then went down into the sewer system. So
Okay. I was thinking that's probably the case.
Yeah. So there's no water quality treatment on the site today at all. So all that would just sheet flow right off the back and right towards the water course in the rear.
So if I understand correctly, the current condition allowed the soapy water to sheet flow.
Yes. Yeah, there was no treatment established.
That's why those trees are so healthy in the back.
Two things. I'd like to apologize to the wetland board for using that previous facility. I had no idea. The second, I did look over the maintenance plan. Very well formatted. There's even, a sheet that you can put in a 3-ring binder periodically. Sweet, very professional. Is it subject to audit? Those logs? If so, by whom? And how often?
Well, we'll keep a log. Sorry, this is being picked for ours. So we'll keep a 3-ring binder on property in the office, and with the regulations, I do that with all my stations as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wanted to come in, whether it's DEP or the town want to come in and check, we have it checked off, and you won't have any issues.
Okay.
So.
Good.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Dora.
I'm sorry. Did you?
Yeah, I have just a comment.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. The water that flows along Industrial Park Road that was in that ditch, how come you don't have that going into the stormwater basin as well? Like, how come that is going through its, I don't know, it seems like it's going more direct right into the wetland mitigation area.
So we tried to maintain some of the flow pattern there already. Now, that basin was designed just for our pavement alone. If we were to design a basin like that for the entire Flanders Road and all that, it would probably take up the entire site. Yeah, so we try to attenuate what we were providing as a proposed improvement.
Yeah, that was about 4
I didn't know how much bigger you would need. I'm not an engineer,
Yeah, there's a lot of water coming down that channel.
Yeah.
Just, we were there Saturday, it wasn't raining. It had rained earlier, but it clearly collects from a lot of places, and it's a lot of water coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll overwhelm your ponds as you go
Gary?
one comment, I did notice in the stormwater report that the catch basins all have 2-foot sumps. So my only suggestion would there be an opportunity for a 4-foot sump, maybe before the hydrodynamic separator. I don't even know if it's needed, because you're gonna have 1, 2, 3 catch basins, they're all tied together, so that's.
Yeah, I mean, that, honestly, that's Connecticut's standard, but, I mean, Massachusetts, they require 4-foot sumps, so we could definitely do that if the commission wanted us to.
It would just provide greater volume should there be a high maintenance. They are providing for hoods on the outlets of the pipes within those basins, so I think that it's already been proposed. I think it's well landscaped. I did notice in the stormwater report, at least in Exhibit I that I have, Exhibit Appendix B is supposed to be the wetlands report. I have a map, but it looks like there may have been missing, I don't know.
So we actually submitted the wetland function values a little after the fact, which came later, but that should, when we submit a final document to you guys, we can include that as where it should have been in the appendix, yeah.
So Exhibit O, which is the letter I received yesterday from William Kenny.
Correct, should be in that
That's
location.
the report.
Right.
Okay.
So I just have one last comment, and then I'll shut up. Following along with Nancy's concern, I understand that all the water in the car wash itself is either contained or sent out through the sanitary sewer system. Is there any possibility that there would be a catastrophe at some point where a valve blocks or a tank ruptures or some other potentially environmental catastrophe where gallons and gallons of contaminated liquid is spewed out into the wetlands area?
I think the way that the systems are designed, the partners that the applicant has from a car wash standpoint are kind of all state of the art. So all these facilities, from a tank design standpoint, from a all of that stuff is kind of state of the art. So the likelihood of a catastrophic event, just the way that it's designed, it's designed to be contained. It's designed where if something were to happen, they can turn off the system, they can turn off the water, and all that lives within what's there. And I believe, so the likelihood of anything that would go downstream or down gradient, we think is very low. And I think the fact that our stormwater treatment system is designed in such a way where we have the 2-foot sumps and now 4-foot sumps and the water quality unit and the detention basin itself that is designed to allow for standing water and to drain out over 72 hours. That treatment train in itself, even if there was a catastrophic event and it were to go through the stormwater system, it would actually live in our stormwater basin and it wouldn't even get to the mitigation area or the downstream wetlands as well, because we'd be able to capture that, isolate it, and prevent it from causing any environmental impact.
And again, this is manned by 1 to 2 people at a time, so there will always be somebody, to stop
Catastrophe.
Any other questions? Not hearing any. Gary, anything?
Not at this time.
Nancy, all set for now?
No.
Yeah.
I would just say we probably should, I think the MSDS sheets is what we were looking for. That might be the only outstanding item.
I can pull the sheets if you just have the product names.
Yeah, so there's several of them, so I'd rather give you the exact ones because there's a lot of
Yeah,
different
sure.
kinds. I'd rather, instead of saying for the record, if you don't mind,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'll give you the exact ones,
Sure.
as a,
Yeah,
Just
for
like
the
this.
record, though.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if you guys, if that could be something that could be done as a condition of approval, or if it's something, as part of a condition to provide those MSDS sheets, or if you'd want that prior to, closing the hearing. Like I said, it'd be up to the commission.
That's up to the commission's discretion. I don't necessarily know that in order to include them as part of the record of the hearing, they'd have to be submitted during the hearing. You certainly can make it a condition of approval if you get there. Obviously, once you close the public hearing, you can't take any more public testimony. Just note for the record, there is no public besides the applicant here.
that includes any further exhibits.
Correct. So you would have to make that a condition of approval if that was something you wanted, if you choose to close business, otherwise we can wait in order to submit it.
I actually have them right now if you want.
Look at that.
Just download them. There's several of them, so I just wanted, and I can provide the actual, but if you can see it on there too, so.
Yeah, technically, if you can read it in
Sure.
record, the name and the SDS, right, then you can just pull it after. Does that work?
I can print them and you
Yeah.
can just email
And I can forward the email to you and you'll have them all, but the first one,
Read them into the record and then.
the first one is 3-50C lubricating soap.
3 dash.
Sorry, I went on to the next one here. Let me go back. So 3-50C lubricating soap. The second one is called, this is the product name, Black Beauty.
Could you say that again, please?
Black Beauty.
Black Beauty.
Mm-hmm. The next one is Card Lovers Bolt.
What was that last word?
Bolt, B-O-L-T.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next product name is Bug Off. The next one is Ceramic Sealant. The next one is Foam Magic Blueberry. Simonize Hot Wax. Chem Fresh Fresh Tide. Chem is spelled K-E-M. So Chem Fresh Fresh Tide. The next one is Prime Pack Triple Foam Blue. Pack is spelled P-A-K.
Thanks for the spellings.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're going to try to look that up. The next one is Quest.
It's not with a K, right?
It's not with a K, no. Next one is Seal and Shine. The next one is Pink Silofoam, S-I-L-O-F-O-A-M. The next one is Simonized Shield Grape, sorry, G-A-G-R-A-P-E. And the last one, if it loads for me, is Vision Clear No Scent No Dye. So, and they're not all on the same, they're not on every package, so it's different packages. So
Okay.
I hope that helps. And I can
Thank you.
forward the email to you if you have it. Thank you.
Yeah, all the SDS sheets too, yeah, they're all on the Simonize website. Very easy to pull up.
Out of curiosity, sir, do you need a license to buy that stuff?
No, we don't.
All right, so I guess that's all the information that we need, and there's no one here from the public, so we can close the public hearing.
Other questions, comments, concerns? The applicant have anything? No. Anything else to share?
No, thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks.
Do we need a motion to close?
Yes.
Who would like to make the motion?
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for this property.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, so then,
We have 65 days to close deliberate. I can be happy to draft the proposed resolution for you. Or if so inclined, you can deliberate now. If you have any questions, concerns, comments that you want to share with me, I can put into that motion. I'd be more than happy to. Certainly, it sounds like there's some O&M operation and maintenance concerns. I did hear them indicate that they're going to monitor the plantings for several years, which we typically like to see. I know we've had past practice where we bonded the plantings up to a 5-year period. My professional opinion is 2 full growing seasons, but it's the commission's discretion. Certainly 3 years I think is sufficient. 5 is an extensive period of time, in my opinion, to hold a bond for plantings to achieve an 80% survival rate. But that's what the commission chose, and so be it. If you want to stick with that, go ahead. It's up to you. But I think as long as you cover yourself for 2 full growing seasons, usually the plantings will take. If they haven't survived by then or been replaced.
So where does this application stand with respect to zoning and planning?
So in terms of planning, the planning commission won't see it necessarily. As the town planner, I'll review it and make comment to the zoning commission, particularly as it pertains to this commission's decision. They'll get a letter from this agency. So I believe they've submitted their application to zoning. It's coming up on your next agenda, which I think is 17th.
I believe it's the 19th.
19th, sorry. So it's in progress.
So I'm on the edge of moving that we vote to approve the motion, the permit. Is there any reason that we shouldn't do that?
Well, I think Gary's going to draft up.
If there's specific conditions.
Yeah, if there's something that you'd like to see
anything that
within.
you want to see, again, my only, based on what was proposed in my review, the only change that I would suggest is for the summer.
Right. That's good.
I think the plantings proposed are adequate. Plantings, they have wet feet, herbaceous type materials in the basin.
The water in the channel is going to be
Pipe,
better than it was.
you know, if there was maybe the outlet of that pipe could, I would just, probably be something you ascertain during construction. If you need more storm outlet protection, or maybe some riprap at the outlet of that. There is a proposed flared end. Sometimes those flared ends, depending on how the rate of flow, water coming out of there will sometimes undermine them, and we'll have to go and do some repair work. Again, they did indicate as part of their O&M plan, that's something that they're going to have to periodically check on. So I think it'll be covered one way or the other. But otherwise, I don't have anything else to recommend.
Well, I'd like to see the 3-year for the tree planting instead of the 2-year. And also, as far as the conditions, that the soap requirement.
I certainly can draft that, put that into a motion, some findings. Let's go from there.
Yes.
I don't have any language for you this evening.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We'll see what you draft up and
Okay.
vote on
Pretty
it
straightforward.
officially. Yeah.
There's nothing else to pull up the stumps. 3-year on the plantings. That being said, I would just probably reach out to the applicant about formulating a bond estimate for those plantings. I can make one in-house, but I'll consult with them, put it together, and that would be also a condition I would recommend bonding the plantings, at least the wetlands. I think zoning will probably cover the rest of the site in terms of what they'll want. And that's usually how we kind of overlap.
Okay. So, Gary, I'm kind of curious. I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago. We had a tremendous storm, and the water coming off from across the street from Stop and Shop was
Yeah.
ridiculous for like 3 days washing through there. So what happens if it comes through and washes all those plantings out, let's say in 4 or 5 years? Is the applicant required to replace those plantings, or do they just leave it as it is?
So the site's been constructed, the bond's been released, and it all gets washed out. I would say that's an act of God. The landowner would be responsible to repair his property to the extent that he could, I suppose, or chose. I don't know that we would necessarily be able to take an enforcement action because they didn't do anything to violate the regulations. I would think it would only behoove them to maintain it because that's how the system functions. If they wanted to continue the operation and the use of the land so that they didn't have a stormwater issue, I would think it would be on them to repair it. If they wanted to look upstream at other liabilities, that's up to them. Yeah, because
Yeah, because at that point, right, they're no longer in compliance with their water quality regulations. So even though something happened to take it out, at some point you could possibly.
I guess the idea is that the permit, once it's issued, right, it runs with the land for 5 years. So at the end of that, let's just say you completed your project, you released the bond, the 5 years is over, no more obligation.
Yeah.
Right, they're not proposing any new activity within the regulated area. It's the same activity that we're currently permitting. So in that case, it would just be up to them to repair it. I would think they could. I think they could probably file maybe an insurance claim.
Right.
That would say tactic out.
Yeah. Hopefully that won't happen.
That's my best rationale. I don't know. Maybe public hearing's closed. We can't ask that.
Right. Only control so much.
Correct.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again. Thank you.
All right, so next is our acceptance of minutes. Do I hear a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the December 6th, 2022 regular meeting?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Yes.
December 6th, 2022 meeting.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Greg, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that you too, Len? Did you say aye?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Ex officio, Anne's not here today.
She contacted me earlier today, could not make it.
Oh, bummer. Close to Christmas, right? Holidays. I was hoping to hear some news on the movie theater.
They said something at the Board of Ed meeting last night. And now I'm trying to remember what.
So you got nothing?
I know. No. I feel like they were talking with the owners, and there was discussion. I don't. They said something about possibly like a theater or something, keeping it not like a movie theater, but like making it not necessarily.
Like a theatrical,
Like
like
plays.
a,
Theatrical.
Yeah, or something.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's there's. You have to listen to. Don't quote me.
I do know that
You're on the
I
record.
know, no. I don't know. Watch the Board of Ed meeting, and you can hear it in their report.
I know there's been some talk. Everybody's wondering what's going to happen. It's still held privately. I know in terms of zoning, Bill has suggested maybe some sort of theater, like an extension thereof from Eugene Meal or the Gar Art. Certainly, it's a use that could fit in the space.
Yeah.
I don't know what will come of the space.
Is there anything in the record about it, or is it all talk until we figure?
Yeah, there's nothing over it.
Nothing.
The Mitchells own the property, it's their property. And
Which property is it?
while we all talk about what we're going to do with
Cinema
their
downtown.
property.
Niantic Cinema.
Oh, that cinema. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so, it's- you know, and I certainly think that Main Street folks, Niantic Main Street, they'll have some interest as to what goes on there. But again, it's a commercial zone, commercial business zone, so that's
Yeah,
up to
it is.
who the next tenant is or Mitchell's decide to do.
Interesting. All right, so new business. Turning it over to you, Gary, for the election of officers.
Thank you. So, bunch of options. Been a while since I've had to do this, and without Ann being here. I guess we'll first call for the nomination of chair. Is there anyone who would like to nominate anyone for a position of chair?
I'll nominate Chris if she's still interested in serving.
I would gladly accept your nomination.
Anyone else like to nominate anyone?
Anyone else?
Hearing once, twice, 3 times, hearing none. Give up Kristen for chair. Do I hear a motion for Kristen Chantrell as chair?
Motion that Kristen Chantrell is the chairperson for the
I second.
Inland Wetlands Commission.
All right.
Agency.
Don Finister?
Yes.
He motioned that Kristen chair.
Oh, okay.
So Phyllis nominated Kristen. Now he's motioning for the chair.
Okay.
And
I second
by
it.
Doreen.
Doreen Ryan.
There were 2, I thought I heard 2 nominations for chair.
I asked for second too. I asked 3 times.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and I heard none.
I have it,
Yeah, I asked for a second, but there was none. So,
Okay, all right, thank you.
so all in favor of electing Kristen Chantrell as chair?
I
Do I vote too?
Abstain.
Abstention.
I abstain.
Okay, I'll now hand it back over to you.
Thank you. All right, so then I am calling for a nomination for the vice chair. Does anyone have a nomination? I'll make a nomination for Don Finster.
Oh, I'll accept it. So.
Do I hear another nomination, right? I do this like 3 times.
Yeah, if anyone else is nominated.
Anyone else? Would anyone else like to nominate anybody? Anybody else interested?
Can I nominate Dom again? You don't have to write that down.
And then do I need to say it one more time?
Yeah.
You got it 3 times? As long as you just ask 3 times.
Say it one
Do
more
I
time.
hear anyone else nomination for vice chair? All right, so now
Hearing none,
hearing
take
none.
a motion.
So I make it.
I make a motion that Don Finster be vice chair.
Second.
For Inland Wetlands.
Len is seconding that, and all those in favor?
Aye. Are we doing this right? Okay.
Hey, you gotta vote for yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah, if you don't vote for yourself, who will? All right, so next, do I hear a nomination for secretary?
I'll nominate Phyllis Berger for secretary.
Thank you, Sam. How are we feeling about that, Phyllis?
Sure.
All right.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Do I hear any other nominations for secretary? And a 3rd time, do I hear any nominations for secretary? And would someone like to make a motion?
I nominate. I make a motion to nominate Phyllis Berger as secretary.
No, make a motion that she be secretary.
That's totally what I said.
Yeah. No nominations are over. He's removing that she actually
Repeat that.
is made it.
You can't move to nominate.
Correct.
That's stupid. Who would do that?
Do I hear a second?
I can move. Second. I second.
John, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Keep the party going then. So next, pending applications. Application of Soapy Noble LLC applicant owner for a 3,425 square foot car wash facility with associated drive aisles, parking, vacuum spaces, drive-up lanes, stormwater measures, and utility infrastructure at 230 Flanders Road, East Lyme Assessors Map 26.1, Lot 27. Public hearing was closed. We discussed it. We will look at the letter
Yeah, so just table this.
next week, so we'll table it, okay. No old business, chairman's report,
Wait, if I may, do we know what happened to the convenience store in between Citgo and the bird store?
It's going to be a supplemental hearing for their gas tank that is.
Yeah, that would be,
What happened?
I don't know that zoning is approved yet.
Just curious.
I asked about it.
I have to go back on.
wasn't last meeting canceled for zoning, so, oh no, that was
They had a
planning.
meeting Thursday that was apparently quite interesting. I just haven't watched it yet, I haven't had an opportunity, but, so I'm not sure if they discussed it at that.
Interesting. Okay.
I just could recommend you watch it from what I've been told. So,
Which,
nice
what,
viewing.
And this is available on the
The last
East Lyme Town Hall
meeting.
website?
the zoning meeting, last zoning
I
meeting?
think, yeah, I don't know if, yeah, I think the recording's up on YouTube. I think it should be there.
It should be, right?
From what I understand.
Mhm.
My nighttime television
Yeah,
show
tonight,
tonight.
that's the popcorn. Chairman's report, did you create that new checklist with the application? The Soapy Noble checklist?
No, we're.
Have we always had that? Because that checklist was, Good.
Comprehensive. So
Yeah.
that's what we kind of want to, we steered them down that kind of road, and they just said, this is what we do. So I said, great.
yeah.
So I've given that to Sam and Ally, and they should, one of them should be reaching out to both you and Greg to
Yeah.
coordinate a Zoom.
Okay, good, because I know they're supposed to kind of be doing some work
Yeah,
on that.
So I
and-
asked them if they could ramp that up like this year, and let's get that.
Right.
done. We're talking about it for a while now.
So that checklist was the applicant's checklist?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
By
Looks
the
pretty
way,
good.
just for clarification, the applicant said they, or you said they posted the application in the paper, but was there a sign?
Yes.
There was a sign.
Yes.
Was there a sign?
Yeah, someone
Yep.
put up.
Excellent.
Facing the intersection, actually.
Yes, yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was nice that they did that.
Yep.
Yeah, we also,
One of them.
so I guess as we move
I
into.
know.
That answers that question, as we move into like the inland wetland report. We corrected, at least with the file with the town clerk, proper regs are filed, so that's, we don't have to worry about the sign issue. So my apologies as to, for whatever reason, that, those regs were not filed appropriately. They should have been. So, nonetheless, moving forward, we're in good shape. As far as enforcement goes, we're continuing to watch Noble Gas, that's the gas station on Route 1.
Yeah.
And the other large site, which I just keep my eyes on, is the one on Rybrook. Bill has got his hands full with a number of other things, so I do tend to drive that way just to keep an eye on it. So, so far so good. I haven't had any other complaints or noticed any other breaches.
I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed that they put piping across North Brybrook facing Brybrook Lake. I don't recall when we did the application that there was any piping across the street. I thought they were going to have a basin somewhere.
They are. They replaced a pipe. There's two catch basins that are in, I guess, on the other side of North Brybrook, and that's what they piped into the back of one, and then we wanted him to upgrade the pipe in the road. So because he did that, then that's what we had to do.
Okay, so is that, if there's an overflow, it's going to come out the pipe facing towards Brybrook Lake?
But you're gonna have the stormwater that comes off of North Brybrook. You're gonna go into those detention basins and discharge where it currently does.
Okay.
But there's an overflow to the basin, the detention basin on his site, and that's, I believe they designed it for a 101-year storm. Then it's going to top over into the road, and when it does that, that's when it's going to go into the catch basin and make its way across the street.
Okay, so my question is, I forgot, how much rain is supposed to fall within a certain period of time in a 100-year storm?
10 inches.
Okay, so how much rain would fall within 101 years?
10.1.
10.1.
We
Okay.
had, so as an example, the rain event that you referenced about the Stop and Shop with Flanders, that was a little over 9 inches of rain. So nearly 100 years ago. And we could see the impact of that.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
So
because that was
it's
in a short period of time.
Significant volume of water. That pond is going to be like, I think four, maybe 6 feet deep full of water before it overtops. And the basin's big. It's not a small basin. That's a lot of water that ends up.
My house is flooded 4 times and paid out $83,000 insurance companies. I got the thing from FEMA today.
Wow.
Except for me, because I didn't do contents, but everybody else did contents. Sucks.
So is that basin going to have water in it a lot?
It's not supposed. I don't believe that one was designed to. The primary soils on that site are sand and gravel, so it's going to just infiltrate right down.
I'm sorry, which property are we talking about?
North Bride Road.
Oh, the
Azalea
apartments.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that's what it was, but then I was like, could there be another one that I missed or something?
That was a big ditch.
So far so good. There's silt sacks in the catch basins that are on North Bride Road. I had noticed today there's sediment tracking out onto the road, so we'll get to sweep the road more frequently. That's all I have. Large projects that are current, just those 2 right now, and then I'm not sure when the secret will get going. In the meantime, I'm putting the budget together. Undergoing a large ask this year with some permit software, which is comprehensive to cover both the building, zoning, and the planning department. So it should also cover ZBA, and it'd be a great online submittal requirements. It's part of getting complete applications. The benefit of online submittals will be that you can't accept it without all the information.
Sure.
So, that'll hopefully curb some of that. With that, we're looking at also trying to ask and request for a full-time assistant position. We'll see where that goes. I'll be meeting with Kevin, the new finance director, and we'll have discussions to see what we can allocate and where the budget can go from there. So those are kind of the 2 big asks that I have. I know zoning is going to be asking for a vehicle, and then we also have some staff changes occurring downstairs as well in our department. So Jen Window, as you may all have worked with, she resigned the other day.
Really?
After 21 years.
Wow.
She'll be leaving. She's moving on.
Wow.
So good for her. So we thank her for her service, her time, and her help.
Where's she going? Do you know?
I'm not at liberty to say at the moment, but
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry, we're on the record.
all in good time. Her last day is the 25th, so it's only right around the corner. So we'll have to be making some shifts downstairs, handle the, I guess, the workload. I don't know how
Are they gonna hire someone to replace her, or just shuffle people around and?
I think we'll have to fill the gap for the time being.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, I think the intention is to replace her with someone. I'll have some discussions with Kevin, what that should look like. My opinion is that the job itself has actually gone well beyond what an administrative assistant or administrative secretary, or the classification is, I think it's administrative assistant, does. So I think there may be some changing the description and seeing get some better fit for what they actually do. Whether or not that then continues to be a union position or not, I don't know. So that'll all unfold in the coming process. That's all I have to report.
Any other applicants you think applications on the horizon?
On the horizon, so the subdivisions. Nothing off the top of my head. I do know there's some projects out in the works. I just don't know where they are in terms of their design. So, could be another year or so before we see anything
Okay.
significant.
How about the property on 156 86 near Fairhaven, I believe it's been sold.
Oh, right.
Jason Buzal. Yeah, he's got plans to do some stuff out there. I just haven't seen him. I don't even know. We talked a little bit on the phone, different types of uses, what the zone is.
Yeah, because there's a brook that runs through there
There's
on the side.
inland wetlands. I think there's also tidal wetlands. So
Mm.
there's kind of and then that interface, obviously. So there's a number of things out there. There's a lot of rock, some steep slopes. There's some challenges to the site. I'm not sure what it's zoned commercial. I think 400 feet into the site, and the rest of it is all on 40.
40. Wow.
80, 40. Yeah,
So what does that mean?
It's
40,000
acre,
square foot
right?
minimum for your building lot. If they were to subdivide, I suspect that you probably propose multifamily.
Low income housing? I mean, it makes sense because you're on the bus line.
I would think affordable housing. I don't know if it would be low income, but definitely affordable.
Yeah.
It would probably be the 80-60 split like you did with Rybrook. So we would refer to that as set aside housing. The affordability is actually set aside for 40 years. Where low income would be more subsidized by the state. That's Rocky Neck Village is more of a low income situation there. Again, it's affordable housing, but it is again subsidized, so it is a little different. It's the first subsidized affordable housing development in this town.
Have you heard anything about the funding of the Hathaway property with the land conservatory?
I don't know about the funding and the monies per se, but I do know that the planning commission will be hearing a 3-lot subdivision on that parcel that the land trust is proposing. I believe they look to cut off, I think it's 7 to 10 acres along Scott Road, which probably would be left for future frontage lots. And then the remaining land is roughly, I think it's approximately 117 acres, which is to go to the open space, and then the remaining portion is the original Hathaway house going back to their home.
So would that back up to the Orchards properties, if it's on Scott Road?
I think it's down further.
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe, yeah, because the Orchards does go
I know
way
you
back,
kinda-
that
kinda-
far
yeah,
end.
it goes way, way
yeah.
back.
Yeah, I bet it does, actually.
They've done a nice job with their trails back there.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the Orchards ends here. Off of Partridge Court is where it abuts the Orchards. So there would be a portion of that would be open space.
Yeah.
I believe, and there's a roughly, I think it's 10 acres off of Heritage. It's already been conveyed to this house here, the Lloyd's. This acreage here, they're going to just cut off a large, I think it's 7 to 10 acre piece there along the frontage, and then the remainder portion of this is all open space. This lot here is no longer in this configuration. They swapped 5 acres here for 5 acres up there, and it's flipped around just to make the open space more contiguous and not weirdly shaped. The only thing I don't understand is why the land trust isn't necessarily proposing more lots.
What, to be able to purchase the property, or to?
Well, if they're looking to subdivide the land and sell these 3 lots, or rather 2 lots, to acquire money to offset their costs for the open space,
Right.
you're going to have this larger piece, which is intended in the future to be multiple lots. Why not just do it in one fell swoop? Short of the only thing I think is the tax issue, because once you file Mylar, you have to start paying taxes on those lots. And
Yeah.
for a land trust, that would make sense to me.
They could keep it just open forest, that's a lower
For the
tax
time,
rate.
well, when it gets approved, when we approve the subdivision, it's gonna be a building lot. It's gonna be a large acre building lot for one house.
Mm.
So they'd have to pay taxes at least on one building lot, which is not necessarily cheap per se, right? And that's all relative. You're expending money.
Mm.
So for a land trust who's nonprofit, that might not be, maybe that might be a good rationale for, we'll sell the 7 acres or something like that, and let them do the subdivision. That might be their, I don't know, spoken to them about that, but nonetheless, it's going forward. The planning commission will be canceling its regular meeting scheduled for the 17th, and we'll be holding a special meeting on the 25th. We have a conflict with this room, so charter revision. So
Did these guys know that? Are they coming to that?
planning commission meeting?
Yeah, the Soapy Noble.
They were going to
No, they go to
zoning.
zoning. Zoning's
Oh.
on Thursdays, so sorry.
Okay, sorry. Because they said 17th, or then they said no, like the 19th, and
Yeah, I'm getting the date.
Got it, okay,
17th
so am I.
planning,
Okay.
19th is zoning.
got it. And then no correspondence or anything?
I have no further correspondence. I'm still waiting to hear as to what this commissioner's training going to look like, or from OPM. There's been some discussion saying, well, it might just be no different than what we've already done, and that was to have the town attorney in and give us the one-on-one on land use, wetland regs. So if that's what it turns out to be, great, that makes it easy. If not, we'll let you know. I will say though that the Inland Wetland Commissioners Training Program is online, up and running, and available. Highly encourage you all to take it. I think some have already. And
Is the
started.
state,
You've already
Yeah.
took, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Sam Geary, the intern, he already completed it. So,
How many hours is it? Does anyone know?
A lot. I think it's like
it's
10.
so long.
Took
Hour
for
a day.
4 or
2
5
weeks is
days,
fine.
with an hour a day.
Much easier said.
Dave, you get the
So you already did it? I think I did it at UConn. You went up there and actually did it. I think that's it, but it was a long time ago.
Technically, if you did you get a certificate from the,
I'm pretty sure I have something, yeah.
so, because I did mine back, it was 2003, it's still valid. So, we can check with DEP, and I can ask Darcy Winter, if she can look up your name, and if you in fact have it, then
This was when the other Gary, right? Gary, who was before you?
Gary Upton.
Upton?
No, no,
Oh, you.
not
Oh,
Gary Upton. No, Gary, wasn't it Gary?
Planner.
That was Keith Hayden.
No, he was a chair here. No. No, the guy that took,
That was Hall. Was it Hall?
who was before you?
So it was Bill
Was that-
Shear.
Meg?
Well, Meg was the planner. As a wetland agent,
Yeah.
we had Bill Shear, followed by Keith Hayden. He went.
Oh,
He-
Keith Hayden, right.
He was.
I was thinking of Keith Hall. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Keith, he went on to East Haddam, and then
Yeah.
when he left, I was appointed.
So it's been a long time. Yeah.
But you did it back under Keith, so
Yeah.
okay, that's like
Long time.
early 2000s, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But it still should be good. There's no reason why. All I know is, okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
That took longer than I was thinking.
I'm sorry, and I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.